That's what we signed up for. So you got to learn how to handle it. Y'all going to write crap. Y'all going to write terrible stuff. And when we do great, y'all going to write great stuff. That's okay. I mean, everybody's got a job to do. It's okay. That's okay. I don't take it personal. I don't read it or listen to it. It doesn't affect me. I love my job. I love what I do. I love all of it. And y'all can't change that.
All right, well, we're going to welcome in David Hale, ESPN senior writer, who has a great article on ESPN.com talking about Dabo and Clemson's transfer woes. Now, Dave, let's start with what you had said, how the portal topic is a bit of a red herring for Clemson. But what are people getting wrong in criticizing Dabo for not utilizing it?
Yeah, first off, I just want to say thanks for bringing me on after Cam McCormick, so I'm not the oldest guy in this segment, so that makes me feel better. Look, it is very much a misnomer that Dabo refuses to use the portal. It's not stubborn Dabo. He will use the portal. He just hasn't found guys in the portal that he thinks are better than who he has on his current roster. So the bigger question is, what is he getting wrong about his current roster?
Yeah.
So you look at somebody like quarterback Cade Klubnik, who was super talented, highly recruited guy coming out of high school, but he has not really developed. And you saw a lot of the same mistakes on Saturday against Georgia that you saw throughout last season. And so this is true, I think, of a lot of players, particularly on the offensive side of the ball, where Dabo is saying, I got these guys and I see limitless potential in them. I'll make them into what I think they can be. Whereas he looks in the portal and he says, finished products over there that are not better than what I think I can do with these guys. And look, he's not alone in being portal averse. I talked to Kirby Smart just a couple of weeks before that game, and Kirby basically said, look, I don't like the portal either. I would rather recruit my team and go to battle with them. But Kirby has done a good job of identifying, I have a hole in my roster here, here, and here. Let me go get somebody that's going to help. And Dabo really, I just think he's not doing the best job of identifying where the problems are and how to properly supplement that.
Well, listen, I think when it comes to this topic, we've got to acknowledge one thing, and it's the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about, and that's tampering. Because it's one of the biggest problems in all of college football when it comes to the transfer portal. And if you're not going to be willing to jump into that pool, the reality of the situation is if there's a great elite player, let's just say there are a handful of them, maybe 10 of them. If they're really, really good, there is a high likelihood they've already been tampered with, the deal's already done, they're signed, and they're gone. So if Clemson doesn't want to jump into that pool, that's fine. That's their choice. But he's not wrong when he says, when you look at recruiting rankings, you look at the product he's put on the field, you look at the caliber of player that they're playing with, he's not wrong when he looks at the portal and sees 2,700 guys. 98% of them can't play for Clemson. I'm sorry, that's just the reality of the situation. So whatever it is that he's doing with his current roster, we can debate that all day long.
Yeah.
All right. But I personally think, and I've got Clemson this coming week. I'm breaking down that film this week. And they've got some things that they have to address at the quarterback position because I think they're going to be really, really good on defense for the entirety of the year.
Well, and speaking about just Clemson as a team as a whole, Sam, does Clemson have the pieces to still make a playoff run?
Oh, absolutely. Luke's made a great point. He thinks that Clemson's defense is going to be really, really good for the entirety of the year. Let's have Clemson's defense be really, really good for the entirety of a game. The first half against Georgia, they played really good football, dominant level football. But then second half, you saw it. I think it was 6 explosive plays. They were giving up plays left and right. And some people might say, well, they got tired, et cetera. It's the first game of the season, number one. Number two, as a former defensive player, as a guy who loves defense, if you're tired, do better conditioning, right? So I don't think that's an excuse that they're making. What I'm saying is the same defense that actually was better than Georgia last year when it came to yards allowed per game. Clemson was 7th, Georgia was 8th. The same defense that played great ball the first half, extend that to a full game. Let your defense carry you while the offense continues to develop. There's a new offensive line coach who's in town, who's from Georgia. Get the offensive line more physical, quarterback situated, and receivers as well.
I don't disagree with you at all in relationship to playing a full 4 quarters. This is a team with first rounders on it at all 3 levels defensively. And, I look at the offense and how can the offense help the defense? Well, they can help the defense by sustaining drives and making the routine plays. There were some plays, a specific 3rd and 4 and 3rd and 6 for Cade Klubnik during the course of that game where he's got a wide open target that's an easy throw and he won't throw it. Why he won't throw it, I don't know, but he won't throw it. It's there to be made. And now all of a sudden you start to gain momentum. You start to gain confidence. Georgia's offense is sitting over there on the field, but instead you come off the field and your offense goes back on. You spend the majority of the second half trying to play from behind.
Yeah, and I think getting those two freshman receivers on the field more helps everybody. We spent the entire offseason hearing Dabo talk about how great TJ Moore and Brian Wesco were going to be. We barely saw them in the game against Georgia. I think that's one thing that Dabo has identified. We got to do better with our personnel usage, and that helps everybody.